And former President Barack Obama has some thoughts on Trump's federal indictment, and you won't be able to miss the irony. Watch this.
The spectacle of a former president being federally indicted. How is the rest of the world, the democratic world, maybe even the non-democratic world, meant to interpret that indictment and indeed the fact that a federal indictee is able to run for the highest office in the land?
It's less than ideal. The fact that we have a former president who is having to answer to charges brought by prosecutors does uphold the basic notion that nobody's above the law.
OutKick host Tomi Lahren joins us now. Tomi, no one is above the law, says former President Obama on the same week as the Hunter Biden plea deal. And let's not forget, Hillary Clinton didn't face charges for her handling of classified documents either.
Yeah, well, I will agree with the former president on a couple of points here because he says our democratic institutions are, quote, creaky. And yes, he is absolutely right about that. But they don't seem as creaky or I guess as punitive when you have a D behind your name or a B for Biden or an O for Obama or a C for Clinton. We know this. But I think this strategy here is incredibly transparent, right? Every time Joe is in hot water, they trot out Barack Obama because they know that he is beloved amongst the Democrat Party. So I would expect you're going to see a lot more from Obama, should he be willing to do it on Joe's behalf, to try to smooth things over with the Democrat base. That's what they do every time. I don't expect anything different this time.
Interesting comments about bringing Barack Obama out. And now that I think about it, it's true. Every time something like that does happen. But, Tom, I got to talk about this. A CUNY law grad is speaking out about this commencement speech that faced a ton of backlash last month. Watch this.
CUNY Central, an institution that continues to fail us, that continues to train and cooperate with the fascist NYPD, the military, that continues to train IDF soldiers to carry out that same violence globally. The masses, those who brunt the ferocity of the violence, those who need our protection, they will carry this revolution.
Okay, so the student that you just heard, she said in an interview with the Jewish Currents, quote, I did not think that CUNY would come out and say that my speech, which was approved by CUNY law, was hate speech. I would not change a single word of my speech, and I would say it louder. So a couple of things, Tommy. I'd expect this, honestly, from someone who lives in a bubble at CUNY law who's practicing in the state of New York. But the rest of the country, the fact that she was so shocked that she was getting so much pushback from this is shocking to me because the rest of the country doesn't feel like this.
Well, you said it exactly right. That's because our liberal institutions bring up activists and not necessarily students or academics. But here, this one is difficult for me because I am a free speech absolutist. So I believe that people that have opinions and beliefs should be allowed to express those opinions and beliefs. And then the American people, or in this case, the other graduates and the attendees, should be able to decide if they agree with those statements or not. Clearly, not everybody agreed with those statements, and I'm glad that that's true because they were incredibly inflammatory. But this also just goes to show that this was approved. So what does that say about that institution? What does that say about all of our academic institutions? It's not like she just went rogue here. She said this was approved. So that, to me, is the most concerning part. You're allowed to say whatever you want to say, but you'd think that there would be somebody within that administration that would have said, hey, the things that you're saying here, not necessarily the most, exciting, let's graduate, congratulations, everybody. In fact, much more militant, dark, and really just inappropriate.
Yeah, earlier this week we were talking about a college professor who was saying that looking at the American flag gave him anxiety. And you have to wonder why so many young people leave college a lot less patriotic than when they entered when they were freshmen. Tommy, got to leave it there. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, guys.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.